Welcome to the midsize three-row SUV non-luxury top 5. We're going to start that off in just a second. First, we want to introduce ourselves. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And this is the Motormouth YouTube channel. If you're here because you're interested in one of these and you might be new to the channel, we'd love if they do what, Andrea?
If you subscribe.
That would be great. All right. First of all, before we get into our top 5, we're going to do some honorable mentions that are not on the list for several reasons. And we're going to start alphabetically with what?
We're going to start with the Dodge Durango first. Now, this one comes with two engine options, one being the Hemi V8, and of course, the tried and true 3.6 liter Pentastar V6.
Now, we're probably thinking, why is a Dodge on their consideration list?
Yeah.
If you haven't driven a Dodge Durango, you're missing out on something. Fantastic handling. In fact, might be one of the best handling of all of the vehicles we're about to mention. Very nicely updated interior they did last year. And incredible power. But the big one is if you tow a trailer or a boat or something like that, 8,700 pound towing capacity with the V8. Now, it loves gasoline, but it is there as an option. And the other thing, Andrea, a lot of people don't realize the quality scores on this product are through the roof.
Yeah, JD Power gives it an 82 out of 100 for quality and reliability, but it's so impressive when it comes to resale value. 60%. It retains 60% of its resale value over 5 years.
So why is it in our top 5? Well, there are some better choices, but and the other thing is the V8 uses a lot of gasoline.
It does.
But there you go. That's the Dodge Durango. What's up next?
The Nissan Pathfinder. Now, it didn't make our list, and for one reason only, because Nissan did a great job with this, but it's the 9-speed automatic transmission, and it held on to first gear for too long, and it gets a little bit loud when you're accelerating. I don't know, it just felt like it was a little bit sluggish.
It felt like it was lazy to downshift. You know when you're driving on the highway and you want to pass a truck and you put your foot into the throttle and you expect it to drop a gear or two? It was lazy to downshift. I think it's calibrated for fuel economy. That's a big concern for a lot of people. Now, the one thing you didn't mention, you said, okay, the transmission. For me, I found the suspension too crashy and trucky. They really made it feel like a traditional truck.
Yeah.
Over bumps, it could be crashy. But the rest of the product's excellent.
Yes, it offers a beautiful interior. And I know that Nissan can change that 9-speed because we've driven it in the Frontier and it was fabulous. And also the QX60 that we recently reviewed.
Our next honorable mention is the biggie of the bunch.
The Volkswagen Atlas. This is a great family hauler. I mean, if you want space, you'll get it in the Atlas, and it's priced well, just over $41,000 Canadian.
It's a big vehicle. So if you're thinking of like a traditional body-on-frame SUV like a Suburban or a Tahoe or something like that, this offers similar kind of space on the inside, but is in a much more manageable fuel-efficient package, or a more fuel-efficient package.
Yes, and one thing about the Atlas is the quality and reliability scores are pretty average. It gets a 70 out of 100. All of the other vehicles that we've chosen in our top 5 are much higher than that. So it gets an honorable mention because it's a great people mover.
Did you say top 5? Let's get into it.
Number 5 goes to the Mazda CX9.
If you're in the US, I'll translate. That's a Mazda CX9. And the reason this vehicle made it in is because it has some good handling, not as tidy as the Durango, but when you get the top trims, they have an interior that befits a luxury brand. So they have taken their brand more upmarket on those top trims, and it shows.
It has a 10.25-inch display screen. It's controlled at the center console with a dial. It's very easy to use. What I love most about the CX9 is it never feels like you're driving a large vehicle. It handles so well. The maneuverability is amazing in the city. I like it a lot, and I think it provides enough power. It is a turbocharged 4-cylinder, and others on our list are V6s, but I think that it is sufficient.
I think a lot of people overlook it. And once you've driven one of these and you experience the interior especially, back to Andrea's point about the rotary wheel in the center, it's very reminiscent of BMW or Audi, especially the look and feel of it. So there it is. Give it a try. But right now, let's get into the specs.
The CX9 has a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with a 6-speed automatic transmission, 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque on regular fuel. If you want a bump and power, put premium gas in this SUV and you'll get 250 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. J.D. Power gives the CX9 a quality and reliability score of 80 out of 100. The CX9 starts at just under $41,000 Canadian and just over $35,000 US. The top signature trim is just under $55,000 Canadian and just over $47,000 US.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below. All right, number 4 goes to what?
The Honda Pilot. It's got a V6 engine. It offers some great horsepower. The only thing is that it only has an 8-inch touchscreen as standard equipment.
And this product's getting towards the end of its life cycle. So it does everything it's asked to do. It has room, it has enough power, but it's starting to look dated on the outside and the inside, and it's ready for a refresh. So there's going to be a lot of new Hondas coming within the next year. They're going to have a new CR-V, they're going to have a new HR-V, they're going to have, hopefully, a new Pilot. But that also opens a door for you maybe to get a bit of a deal. As new products are coming, sometimes they don't discount, but they give you better deals for the existing car.
And I'd love to see the Pilot come with a hybrid option. I find that Honda has just not moved along with electrification. I would love to see something like that.
All right, let's get into the specs. The Honda Pilot comes with a 3.5-liter V6 with a 9-speed automatic transmission, 280 horsepower, and 262 pound-feet of torque. J.D. Power gives the Pilot a quality and reliability score of 79 out of 100. The Pilot starts in Canada at just over $46,000 and just under $38,000 in the US, and goes all the way up to what's called the Black Edition, which is $57,500 Canadian and just over $51,000 in the US.
Our number 3 pick goes to the Toyota Highlander.
And the reason? It has options. So you can get a regular 3.5-liter V6, or you can get a hybrid. And they didn't go with the old V6 hybrid they had in the previous model. No. They switched things up. They went to a 4-cylinder hybrid to get amazing fuel economy. So if you're here looking for the best fuel economy, you've landed on Highlander.
Absolutely. 6.6 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 6.8 on the highway. That's 36 miles per gallon in the city and 35 on the highway. You know, for a big third row SUV, that is amazing fuel economy. And some of these others on our list, including honorable mentions, should really get some hybrids going.
All right. Now, one thing in our experience, if you're using a Highlander, for example, mostly in sort of urban commuting, taking kids to school and ballet, hockey and football practice, stuff like that, the hybrid's going to be happy, right? That's where hybrids, especially with the 4-cylinder hybrids, are going to be happiest.
Yeah.
They're going to do a good job moving you from traffic light to traffic light. If, however, you need your SUV to do highway runs, going up steep hills, maybe mountain passes, those sorts of things, that's where you're going to get the V6 to get that extra power.
One thing that I find a little bit disappointing in the Highlander is that all trims come with an 8-inch touchscreen, and it's that top trim that you get the 12.3-inch touchscreen. But it would be nice maybe if they added a package so that we could all experience the larger touchscreen instead of just getting it on the top trim. And of course, the configurations, with whether it's a 7-passenger or 8-passenger, captain's chairs or bench seats. Once again, I would love to see just a bench seat option on all trims. And then if you want to add captain's chairs, you can for a price.
Yeah. Usually the top trims get the captain's chairs. It's a bit of a conundrum to us. All right, let's get into the specs.
The Highlander has a 3.5-liter V6 engine with an 8-speed automatic transmission, 295 horsepower, and 263 pound-feet of torque. Toyota also offers the hybrid with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. Paired to Toyota's hybrid system, it produces a combined 243 horsepower. J.D. Power gives the Highlander a quality and reliability score of 82 out of 100. The base gas model starts at just over $35,500 in the US, and the base trim in Canada is just under $45,000. The top platinum trim in Canada is $55,500, and in the US just under $48,000. The hybrid base model in Canada starts at just under $47,000 and just over $39,000 in the US, and that top platinum trim in Canada is $57,500, and in the US just over $49,000.
Oh, we're oh so close to number one. So hang on for that. But also hang on at the end. We're going to run through which vehicles get the most space. So if you're concerned about volume and room inside, at the end of the video, once we've announced our number one, we'll encapsulate that. What's number two, Andrea?
Well, it's the Hyundai Palisade.
Any guesses what number one is?
I don't know.
All right.
Let's just go over the Palisade.
All right, so the Palisade came out a few years ago and absolutely shot the lights out when it came to curb appeal, something we hadn't seen from Hyundai before, and an interior that looks really rich and upscale with a center console like a captain's console on an aircraft or something like that. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the exterior, it just looks so...
Posh.
Yeah, bold. I mean, you just don't see these kind of stately vehicles on the road. So I think the Palisade is a great option. It comes standard with an 8-inch touchscreen. The top trims have a 10.25-inch touchscreen, and you can get a digital driver display on the top trim. It's 12.3 inches, so you can get a very beautiful interior. Now, all of the models that we've talked about, you know, it's a personal preference. The Palisade comes with a button shifter. Some have traditional shifters. So they're all great options, but they offer something a little bit different and unique.
Now, we're going to get into the specs in just a second, but a bit of a spoiler alert. This comes with one of the larger engines in this class. So it's got good power. The interesting thing is it runs on what's called the Atkinson cycle, which is a more fuel-efficient cycle than a regular gasoline engine cycle. And it has a high compression engine. So it's new tech to give you the best of both worlds. Fairly good fuel economy, considering it's a large 3-row SUV, and you get the power when you need it. So do you want to do that now? Get into the specs?
Let's get into the specs.
As mentioned, the Palisade comes with a 3.8-liter V6 engine and an 8-speed automatic transmission, 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. J.D. Power gives the Palisade a quality and reliability score of 80 out of 100. Here's the pricing. The base model in Canada is $41,500. In the United States, it's just over $33,000. And it goes all the way up to the top calligraphy model you're looking at here. That's just under $55,000 in Canada and just over $47,000 in the United States. And something that has just been added by Hyundai in the United States, for American buyers, you get complimentary maintenance for 3 years or 36,000 miles. Nice.
And our number one pick goes to the Kia Telluride.
The Korean cousin to the Palisade. And a lot of it comes down, in my opinion, to packaging and styling. I appreciate the Palisade for the sort of posh look they've done with the big chrome grille. I like the rugged look of this Telluride. It kind of reminds me of a Range Rover a little bit.
Absolutely. We had a beautiful black exterior trim. I love it. Had the black wheels. It was all blacked out. I mean, it just looks so good.
So then we get into the packages. Now, the way it works is the Hyundai Corporation that owns Kia and Hyundai gives the automotive sections their tools to work with. Here's the platform, here's the engines, here's the electronics. Go away and make your own vehicle. So over at Kia, they decided to add some nice things. Like you get standard wireless charger for your phone. The big screen you're looking at comes standard on all trims. Often with the Palisade, you have to go to the very top trim to get those two features. So you just kind of get more, in my opinion, from Kia.
One thing that you do get in the Palisade that you don't get in the Telluride is that digital driver display. Once again, I was hoping for 2022 that the Telluride would get it. It did not. Also, keep in mind the Palisade has a lower starting price than the Telluride. So I would expect to get more features in the Telluride than the Palisade.
Okay, back to your point about Palisade. Palisade is you also get the option to have the power folding third row seats.
Yeah.
Not available on the Kia. Not a deal breaker for me.
No.
How often you put the third seats up and down? Occasionally. But for me, Andrea, it's the way it looks.
Oh yeah.
And I think you just get more sort of standard stuff. You don't have to go to the top trim to get the fanciest stuff.
Nope.
And that's why I like it. And the drivability.
And also the traditional shifter. I mean, you get that in the Telluride instead of the button shifter.
So now let's get into a little bit of the way, I guess, the Korean cousins drive. They have a really nice combination of making it feel like you're driving an SUV,
Yeah.
but really comfortable at the same time. I think they did a great job of making them a really good all-rounders.
Let's get into the specs. The Kia Telluride has the same engine as the Palisade, a 3.8-liter V6 with an 8-speed automatic transmission, 291 horsepower, and 262 pound-feet of torque. J.D. Power gives the Telluride an impressive quality and reliability score. It is the top on our list of vehicles, 85 out of 100. The base model in Canada starts under $47,000 and just over $33,000 in the US. And the top trim is just over $55,500 Canadian and just under $43,000 US.
So there you go. Those are our top 5 choices, plus some honorable mention for 3-row mid-size SUVs that are non-luxury. These are all really good choices for different reasons. And the thing about the Kia Telluride is it's one of the hottest products on the market. We're hearing all kinds of people waiting for months and months to get one, paying over ask in the United States to get them. I mean, we're not only ones that think it's hot. You also think it's hot too.
Yeah, and the markups, like you said, Zach, in the US are terrible. I mean, I feel sorry for our US followers that they have to deal with this. Now, when it comes to space, let's break it down. Front row legroom goes to the Pathfinder. Second row legroom goes to the Telluride and Palisade, as well as third row legroom. Space behind the third row goes to the Atlas, and in second place, it's the Telluride and Palisade. And overall cargo capacity, once again, it's the Atlas with the Telluride and Palisade in second place.
So that's another reason why they're 1-2 is because, you know, we talked about the Atlas being a big people mover.
Yeah.
They're big too. They're biggies, just not as big. So there you go. There's our top 5. We hope you liked it. And what do they have to do before they go, Andrea?
Well, you got to subscribe, hit that notification bell. We put out a lot of content each week, and then you can follow along.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.